Do your emotions hurt? Are your emotions physically painful? If not, then why would you avoid them? And if they are, that could be a sign of a real problem. Let me explain. Emotions are feelings. Feelings in the body. And this is very much overlooked by most people most of the time. Because our minds hijack our whole emotional response. And that's why I'm doing all these videos about emotional avoidance. Because just like you can't stick a steak in your brain and digest it, you can't digest an emotion without feeling the physical sensation of it. And 95% of the time, if you really take the time to feel what your emotions feel like physically, you will notice that they are not painful or not very painful at all. Your emotion might be tightness in the chest, which you have labeled fear. But I would recommend going back to saying tightness in the chest. It could be tightness in the throat. It could be fluttery stomach, right? It could be a million little things, but most of those things are not physically painful. And so I would urge you, feel those emotions and label them according to the physical sensation. It will take you to a whole different level of self-discovery if you do that. Now, if you call tightness in the throat fear, and tightness in the chest fear, and tightness in the stomach fear, and you don't take the time to differentiate between those, then it's like you're calling all the different colors just a color and not saying which color. Tightness in the throat is a different fear than tightness in the chest or in the stomach. And if you're not focusing on the physical aspect of the emotion, which I'm arguing is basically mainly what it is, then you don't even have the basic prerequisites for healing that emotion. Tightness in the throat is usually, not always, but usually having something to do with communication, speaking up. And the reason for not communicating, not speaking up, usually has something to do with grief, sadness, something like that. Now, it could be a fear of rejection. It could be the fact that you have been rejected before when you spoke up, and that you didn't process that grief. So let's say you got up in class and did a show and tell, and everybody mocked you for it, and you held back your tears, and you locked that energy up in your throat. And then you say, well, I have a fear of public speaking. If you would feel the tightness in the throat, maybe cry the tears that you repressed long ago, you might realize that this fear of public speaking is not as huge as you've been making it. Because in the end, it's really about tightness in the chest, in the throat, maybe increased heartbeat, certain things like that, dry mouth, whatever. All things that you could actually handle. Things that you might even pay money to have those sensations by going on a roller coaster at an amusement park. So, your emotions usually do not physically hurt. Now, here's the thing. When you suppress your emotions over a long period of time, and depending on the intensity of the emotion and the rest of your physical system, this emotional suppression can very oftentimes lead to sickness or disease. So if you have emotions that are physically painful, like really physically painful, then you might be on the cusp of having that emotional avoidance turn into disease. Consult your doctor. I'm not the guy for that, okay? And you might want to skip the part about the emotional frustration, avoidance leading to your disease, because most of them aren't going to be on board with that. But the thing is, the universe wants you to evolve. Your soul, your higher self wants you to evolve. So it'll start with an emotion that feels bad, that's attempting to kind of kick your butt into evolving. And then if you don't listen to that for years and years, and you don't do anything about it, then the universe will take it up a notch and give you something that you cannot ignore. And that could be a disease, that could be a sickness. It could also be something like breaking a bone or having an accident. You might notice, for example, I've broken 2 bones only in my life, both on the right side. Right side of the body is the masculine side in general. And so when you kind of see that there is a pattern, a lot of times I see with my clients who have broken multiple bones or had issues, it's always on one side of the body. Well, not always, but it's very common for people to have had broken bones on one side of the body, to have had surgeries on one side of the body, but never the other, things like that. So there's a whole coding, and if you look at Julia Cannon, Dolores Cannon's daughter's book Soul Speak, it kind of lays out some of these correlations between emotions and physical issues, something to check out. But anyway, if your emotions are getting to the point of physical pain, then it's even more important that you process them. So I urge you, feel your emotions as physical sensations, rather than labeling them in your mind with the title of the emotion. Feel the physical sensation more, allow it to be there, quit running away from it. Allow whatever emotional reaction wants to happen, like crying, laughing, and allow this stuckness to move out of your body. That's all it's trying to do when you keep having these emotions. When you're on a cycle of repetitive emotions, it's because your body's trying to get you to clear these things. Unfortunately, most people don't even know that could be done. But it can be. And it's not necessarily easy. It's not necessarily a quick fix. But the alternative is a lot worse. So, anyway, feel your emotions as physical feelings. Let them be there. Let them be felt more and more. And process them. And if you need help with any of that, get in touch. andysway@yahoo.com, or go to my website, andysway.com. And there you can book a session. You can do that by phone or in person in Southern California. I will be in New York at some point during the spring. And so any of my New York people, make sure to send me an email if you want to book for then. I don't have exact dates yet, but I will put you on the list to arrange that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.